Hi everyone! Today's video is all about cells and how to create a 3D model of one. All living things are made up of cells. These tiny building blocks work together to create simple bacteria as well as more complex organisms such as people and animals. In these complex organisms, like plants, animals, and people, cells are made up of many different organelles. Organelles are the parts of the cell that perform various functions and allow for the cell's independent operation. The four main parts of an animal cell that we are going to be talking about today are 1. The cell membrane, 2. Cytoplasm, 3. The nucleus, and 4. The mitochondria. The cell membrane controls the movement of substances in and out of the cell. The cytoplasm is where most chemical processes take place in a cell. The nucleus is where DNA or other genetic material is stored and protected. And finally, the mitochondria is where the most ATP or energy is released through the process of respiration. Enough talk about what a cell is. Let's make one. In this activity, we will be creating a 3D model of an animal cell. Materials needed for this activity are a base. You could use a paper plate or pizza or something else as a base to lay your supplies on, and an assortment of toppings. For this activity, I will be using a gray plate that I got from Target, and my toppings of choice that I will be using are my favorite cookies and candies. The first one is Oreos, second, Twizzlers, and lastly, some colorful Skittles. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get into it and make this 3D model of a cell. To start off our animal cell model, we will first add the cell membrane. I chose to represent the cell membrane using red Twizzlers, but you can choose something else if you want. The cell membrane is on the outer edge of the cell and controls the movement of substances in and out of the cell. It also separates the cell from its outside environment. The next part of our animal cell is the cytoplasm. You can add something to represent the cytoplasm, but I chose to simply use the gray background of the plate inside of the red Twizzlers as my cytoplasm. Most chemical processes take place within the cytoplasm, and the cytoplasm is controlled by enzymes. Next is the nucleus, which I represent here with an Oreo cookie. The nucleus is where genetic material, or DNA, is stored and protected, as well as the nucleus controls the activities of what happens inside of the cell. The final organelle that we will be adding to our animal cell model is the mitochondria, or also called mitochondrion plural. I am using yellow Skittles as my mitochondrion. The mitochondria is commonly called the powerhouse of the cell because it is where most ATP or energy is released by respiration. Now that we are finished, this entire gray plate is one completed animal cell. Now that you have made your model of an animal cell, you may be wondering, what's the difference between an animal and a plant cell? Well, I'll tell you. The plant cell has more organelles than an animal cell. Both animal and plant cells have cytoplasm, nucleus, mitochondria, and a cell membrane. However, plant cells also have more organelles as well, such as the chloroplast, vacuole, and cell wall. If you wanted to turn your animal cell into a plant cell, you could just add those extra organelles. The chloroplast contains chlorophyll, which absorbs light energy for photosynthesis. The vacuole is filled with cell sap to help keep the cell full of material. And last but not least, the cell wall is an additional extra layer close to the cell membrane that strengthens the cell. If you want to extend your activity and include a plant cell as well, just make sure to include more goodies to represent those organelles as well. I hope you learned something from watching this video. Thank you for watching!